Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Okay, it is Thursday, and a reminder that our title sponsor is Able Auctions. Just before we get to Farhan, Delaney's OK Tire in Langley inbox. Campbell River Gym, beautiful Campbell River. Hello to everybody up there.
Oh, so nice.
On Vancouver Island. I've got family up there.
Oh, I know you do.
Family history.
I've been there. It's a beautiful spot.
Move Miller, this is Campbell River Gym, move Miller to New Jersey for the number 2 pick and go right in. He didn't use the word right. I'm going to use the word. Go right in and move Brock to Arizona for the 3rd overall pick. Go Berkey. Rutherford, again from Campbell River Gym. Not the exact words that Jim used, but you get the idea.
Bold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that Brock to Arizona, it's going to take a little bit more than that.
Maybe. 3rd overall pick? Brock and something else, right?
Yes, it's got to be a whole lot more than Brock, Donnie. Come on.
Okay. Just to clarify. All right, Farhan Lalji joins us now. How are you, sir?
I'm good, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good. Are you an analytics guy? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, I'm in between, right? I totally respect it and buy into what it brings to the table, but it's just not something that I always understand how to source and, where to get everything that you need to get and how to always interpret the data. I kind of need somebody to interpret it for me, but conceptually, I do appreciate analytics and I think that it's valid and brings a lot of value.
The question I was asking in the previous segment, and I heard you criticizing me too, Ryan, by the way, and my age and my knowledge of analytics, which isn't much.
I said nothing about your age.
That's okay. We go way back. I do respect analytics, but all I was wondering about was this. Like, at the moment that you're being pressured in a real difficult situation in any sport, football, hockey, whatever the case, how do analytics come into play?
Well, I think in a single moment, it doesn't. I mean, it's like gambling. It's odds, right? And you basically kind of play to your numbers, but it's not like the group with the highest odds is always going to win. And, you still can't take away the emotion from the game. And, you can't – do coaches need to refer to it to make some of those decisions? I think for the most part they should, right? Because, again, it's about odds. But as far as the player is concerned, the last thing you're thinking about is analytics and – where things are going to go in that moment. I think games are reactive. I think games are emotional, and you can't remove that. Okay,
football now. We see the Lions are back to work up in Kamloops. What can you tell us, though, Farhan, about CFL, CFLPA negotiations?
Well, they're grinding away at it right now. They had a marathon bargaining session yesterday that went somewhere about 15 hours, I think, and they got at it again early this morning, and the PA sent a letter to its membership basically telling them, look, you need to report to camp, but we are preparing to strike if needed. And I think they feel they're in a much better position to strike than they were in 3 years ago, and they went right down to the 11th, almost the 12th hour before making the decision to continue with training camps. They feel that because they're going to be in a legal strike position, it's going to prevent the CFL from being able to sue them as an association. I think that helps. And also they're financially committed to being able to assure players that, look, we'll pay for your travel home. The teams have already said, as long as the strike is lawful, we'll pay for your housing and food. But if it all breaks down and everything stops and you need to get home, we will pay for that. And that wasn't something they could do in 2019. Now, look, it's all talk. Everyone's posturing right now. But I do think that they're going to find a way in the next 72 hours to get this done. There was movement from all sides on the part of the league. Maybe not significant movement, but it was movement forward on issues like the cap, the ratio, health and safety, guaranteed contracts, all of it. Not enough, but they're headed in the right direction. And I do think that by the time we get to the end of the day Friday, if not maybe into Saturday, it gets done.
I think we'll all agree that the last thing the CFL needs is a strike, some sort of labor dispute. And this plays into it as well, Farhan. Competition. On your Twitter account, you posted that you recently watched a USFL game. What effect is the new USFL and the new XFL? What effect are those two leagues going to have on the CFL?
I'm not sure the USFL is going to have a long-term effect because I don't believe it's going to survive. Might it get into year 2? It might. And I understand the business model because they're not expecting fans at any game that doesn't involve Birmingham because they're all playing in Birmingham, right? So, but it does affect the credibility of the product. When people watch it, they see it, it does turn them off. You know, the NFL, the hype piece of the NFL is so important. But I do think the XFL is going to be sustainable. And I think that is something the CFL needs to look at. And as the league looks at its own finances and what we can and can't afford, you can't afford to lose good players. Because when you look at what the US or the XFL is going to pay, it's going to be similar to what the CFL pays, but for a lot less work. There's a formal association with the NFL. People are going to want to go there and play there instead because they're going to have some flexibility. It's the same game. They don't have to learn a new game. So I think the CFL should worry. And when you lose players that the CFL has lost, young Canadian players, because they'd rather just go out into the workforce because of the finances involved, I think that's something the league's really got to look at. And if you want to improve the product, pay the players more. Allow them to be full-time people and not have to work while training in the off-season and doing those kinds of things. Like, let them be professional athletes. So I do think it's going to have an effect.
When you look at the Lions training camp, where are some of the battles? Are they going to get better on the O-line and the D-line?
Yeah, I think those are the two main areas, Rick. You hit the nail on the head. And, you know, offensive line, I think they put themselves in a ratio position with Nathan Rourke and quarterback where they're only going to need to start 2 Canadian offensive linemen. And I believe that's going to be Suk Chung and David Neville. And it'll be good to see Neville finally get a real meaningful opportunity because I think there's more there for him. But how are the other positions going to look, right? We know Figueroa is going to be the left tackle. What's the right tackle going to look like? You know, is it Kent Perkins? Is it one of the guys they brought in? Who's going to wind up being the center for this team? And defensive line, they've made wholesale changes. They brought in veterans. Unfortunately for them, they lose Stove Richardson, who was a big add. So, you know, I think they've got like 17, 18 bodies along the defensive line at training camp. So it's an area they need to significantly improve in. Who are going to be the guys that can push in that area so they can get consistent pressure on the quarterback? Because without it, they're just not going to have long-term defensive success.
Quickly, a Canucks one, Bruce Boudreau saying last night, looks pretty good. He's going to come back, not 100%, still work to do. Is this the right move, getting him back, Farhan?
Oh, it's absolutely the right move, right? And I'm surprised that he didn't take right until the end and make the club sweat a little bit. But I think he's got enough clarity based on who is out of the playoffs right now. I mean, you know, Philadelphia is not playing. You know, Vegas isn't playing. I think there's more clarity on what's happening with some of the other teams. But I think he likes it here. I think he likes the players. He likes what he's built. And he knows that, you know, what he can get out of these guys. So I think it's a good fit for the club. I think it's a good fit for the players. And I hope that if he has some sustained success by the time we get to January, that at that point they're able to get him to an extension.
One more, Farhan. Back to football. Tom Brady, Fox, Analyst, $375 million over 10 years. Can you understand that?
Don Taylor money.
Oh, I wish. Can you understand that, given that he hasn't done a game yet? I'm sure they've tested him.
Look, I know the name matters, right? And I know there's a fit there at Fox for other non-football related decisions, right? But I have no doubt Tom Brady's going to be really good at this because I think he's so competitive and so driven. He's not going to want to fail at anything, and I don't think he's afraid to say anything. Whereas, you get certain people in this industry that just don't want to say a lot. Like how good of an analyst is Wayne Gretzky, right? Like Gretzky's okay, but we still watch him because he's Gretzky. He's not necessarily willing to fully put himself out there. I don't think Tom Brady's going to hesitate to put himself out there with his opinion. But wow, like $37 million a year is crazy to me for a person on television. He's going to make more than he ever made as a quarterback on a per-year basis.
That's it.
It's crazy to me. And look, I know he took lesser deals to make things better for his teams, which is great for him, especially when he's got the wife at home making as much as she does. But crazy that he's getting paid that much without having done it. But all that said, I have no doubt he's going to hit it out of the park.
Yeah, because he's Tom Brady. And comfortable in front of a camera, but doing analysis during a game is different. Hey, Farhan, you know that. Thanks so much for this. Appreciate it, my friend.
Take care, guys. Stay away from analytics when it comes to this show.
Why?
We know that.
Hey, the analytics so far on this show are doing good, pal. So far, so good. I don't want to jinx it.
Rick Fenwick needs some work.
Guys. It should be.
Thanks, Farhan. I appreciate it.